The book, A Song for Zipporah, written by David Harris, is a powerful historical fiction centering around the life and character of Moses' future wife Zipporah before they met. Book author David Harris brings the reader into the relationship between Moses and Zipporah, which was gradual and lush. The story unfolds beautifully when Moses finally asks Zipporah to marry him. Purchase your copy of the book detailing this authentic story, A Song for Zipporah by David Harris today. It's available online at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com.
At Wings of Transformation Publishing, we are committed to helping our authors reach their goals and pursue their dreams of becoming published authors. We work closely with each author to ensure a successful publishing experience, and we are dedicated to helping them tell their stories in the most meaningful and impactful ways. We look forward to putting you on the path to writing your book.
Aspiring Authors Magazine is a founding sponsor for Da Crew podcast. Get featured inside the magazine and allow your voice to be heard around the world.
Aspiring Authors Magazine is an international magazine founded in May of 2020 by Queen Angela. Get featured.
Hey, and welcome to the Crew Podcast. We are the hottest podcast rocking right now. We are currently looking for 6 amazing hosts to join our family for season 2 that will kick off February the 1st, 2024. If you're looking for an opportunity to allow your voice, your perspective, and your brand to be heard around the world and seen around the world, then join the Crew Podcast.
3, 2, 1, it's going down like confetti. Water to no one shots again. If we do it on a
Well, welcome, y'all, to another episode of the Free Texas Campaign, Voices from Behind the Walls. I tell you, every Monday, it is the honor and a privilege to be able to share these individuals' story, but just to hear their stories. I tell you, I can't express this enough. Imagine a state where justice is not blind, but where it wears a blindfold, that has been corrupt by greed and power. A state where the very institutions that are meant to uphold the law have been tainted by the roots of corruption. Welcome to Texas, a state where the parole board and other aspects of the judicial system have become a breeding ground for dishonesty and injustice. We hear over and over stories about individuals that are experiencing injustice and various things within the judicial system, within Texas and the TDCJ. I'm telling you, it is a shame. So I'm going to move out the way. I have another individual that's stopping by to share his story. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself and to share his story. If you would, please, sir, if you would introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jesse SALAS, and I'm an inmate here in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. I'm incarcerated now for close to 29 years, and I'm currently being held at the McConnell unit in Beeville, Texas. And thank you for having me on.
Wow. You said 29 years. That's 3 decades that you've almost been incarcerated. I know that this could not have been easy. Would you like to share how you ended up there? Because there's a lot of corruption that has taken place within the TDCJ and the judicial system in Texas that have landed a lot of people behind prison walls that should not be in prison, and those that have committed crimes that should be in prison should not be in prison for the amount of time that they've given them. I look in here at a lot of these cases, and I think about a lot of these states that if these cases was in, that these people would be home with their families. They will be still able to be out in society, paying for what they done, paying back restitution, paying fines, probably attending classes and, doing stuff to, help better themselves, but still given the opportunity to be on the outside. I don't get the state of Texas. So if you want to share, you can share.
Yeah, sure. That's not a problem. I came to prison for some crimes that I committed when I was a teenager. I was 18 years old at the time when the 2 crimes that got me sent to prison. I was doing a lot of drugs and drinking when I was really young. I lost my father at a really young age. He left my family, and my mom was trying to raise me and my little sister together. And obviously, it was very difficult for her, and for me. I wound up falling into the drugs and alcohol like a lot of people do, and I committed 2 crimes while I was under the influence. One was an attempted sexual assault, and the other one was a burglary of a building. I went to court for both those charges when I was 20, and they gave me a 4-year sentence for both of them. So I came to TDC in 1995 on a 4-year sentence, and I entered TDC July of 95. At that point, TDC was expanding its prison system at the time, and so I was there during that crazy period where all this stuff was going on with TDC. They were just building these prisons and trying to fill them up as fast as they could, and I got caught in that chaos. I entered TDC here at the diagnostic unit here in the Garza East unit back in 95, and during that period, there was a lot of racial tension. They were having a lot of problems with gangs at the time. And for me, I'd never seen that amount of violence before. I come from a very small community. I grew up in a town of about 3,500 people. As a teenager, I had only had 4 months prior to the 2 convictions I had got at 18. It was for vandalism, 13 years old. Outside of that, I had never got in trouble before. Never been to TYC or anything. So coming down here and experiencing the amount of violence that I was seeing, it was kind of a shock for me. I'd never experienced anything like that. Due to the racial violence and the gang violence, I was caught up in a mix where there was some riots that were going on, and Texas was having problems with this at the time. So at that time, I wound up getting shipped and caught a rioting case, and they shipped everybody that was living in that building at the time. They shipped everybody to the Huntsville unit in Huntsville, and they reclassified me there. And again, I had a 4-year sentence. I'd never been to prison before. So when I get there, they reclassified me, and they dropped my status down to the lowest they could give you. And I wound up going to what was at the time known as the federal unit in Texas, which everybody probably knows now is called Palumpski. It's where they hold death row. At the time, I got sent over there, and this is a maximum security prison. I have a 4-year sentence. I've never been in prison before, and I'm 20 years old, right? And so I get sent to this unit, and I get reclassified there with the unit classification. And
So hold up, how did you get charged with murder?
Basically, what happened was TDC doesn't recognize self-defense. They don't claim you cannot claim self-defense inside TDC. Their thought is that if you're in a situation that you feel that you can't get out of it, you can go to an officer and tell them what's going on with you, right? But that's not how it worked back then. It's different now. They have a system called Safe Prisons and PREA, where they have to now take you out of your situation and put you in isolation and keep you safe from whatever your claim may be. But at that time, in 1996 and 95, when I first came down, they didn't have anything like that. So, you could go to an officer and tell them what was going on, but majority of the time, they would just tell you to go back to yourself. I've been having difficulties with these guys for a while. They have been, jumping on me, beating me up, clicking on me, that kind of thing, and trying to make me, at the time, what they call riot here, right? And I refused, so, they threatened my life one day, blatantly just told me that my life was in danger, and I protected myself. And PhD turned around and they charged me with murder, and that's how I wound up with the murder charge, and I went to court, I went through the whole process and everything. I didn't have a very good lawyer, and I wound up with 50 years. I signed for 50-year sentence. They were trying to give me a life sentence at the time, and instead they wound up giving me a 50-year sentence for the murder. So that's pretty much how, what happened. It was very difficult for me. Again, I've never been in any kind of serious harm. I've never had any history of violence or anything like that. So having to deal with that situation at the time, and my family, we're poor. My mom, single mom, raising 2 kids. She didn't have any money. I was far away from home. It's happening in East Texas, and I'm from South Texas. And it was very difficult. My mom took it the hardest, obviously. My father, he had a hard time dealing with it as well, but he was a little bit more understanding of the situation than my mom was. I have a little sister as well. She's taken it hard over the years also, but she's done well for herself. But as far as what was crazy about what happened was that after I got sentenced, and I tell everybody this, and when they ask me about my story, one of the things that happened right after I got convicted, I was in the holding cell at the courthouse getting ready to go back to my unit, and the prosecutor and the assistant came down to see me, and he came down to check on me personally, and he asked me how I was doing, and I was like, well, you just gave me 50-year sentence. I'm not really sure what you expect, He was like, look, Mr. SALAS, he said, I know everything that went on that day. He said, I know everything that happened prior to it. He said, and I just need you to know that, this is nothing personal, but this is what I do for a living. And I was like, just basically took my life for something that, I was trying to protect myself. But they didn't see it that way for him. It was more just doing his job and, finding out the truth and doing what he right, and it just didn't work out that way, So, I've been here for the last 29 years now, dealing with what happened that day. One of the things that a lot of people ask me is, why was I on that unit with a 4-year sentence and the first time inmate? And I can't answer that question. I don't know what TDC was thinking at the time, why they felt like I needed to be there, in that circumstance, But,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Why was you even at a unit like that? You should have been at a unit that was getting ready to transition back home. You talking about 4 years? You wouldn't finna be down there long. Yeah. You should have been somewhere, at a work camp or somewhere that had you connected with the world, not getting you prepared to do a bid. That was they was like it was like they was getting you prepared for this. It's like that's what they do, and that's what's happened. And then I look at how they parole people. I look at how they let people out. It seemed like the people that's doing what they supposed to that's trying to change, that's trying to make a difference, that's trying to, turn their lives around. It's like they getting the short end of the stick. It's like they butt the kids. Like it's like they don't care nothing about them. And the ones that's always getting in trouble, the ones that's smoking these drugs, the ones that's sneaking these phones in, the ones that's doing wrong are the ones that they doing everything for, that they're looking out for, that they're going to bat for. Like I don't get it. I just don't get TDCJ. I don't get it.
It's a cycle with them, unfortunately. Ever since I got in trouble in 1996, I did 2 years in the administrative segregation for the crime. They held me in isolation for 10 years for it, and the whole time I was in isolation, I never caught a case. I went case free the whole 10 years I was back there. And when they released me back into the general population, which what happened in 2005, they finally let me out. And since then up to this point, I've only caught 2 major disciplinary cases in the whole time that I've been out of segregation. And I've taken classes. I've taken every class that's probably paid. I work in the maintenance department, which gives me a lot of freedom to walk around and do. I do a lot of. I'm a plumber here, but I also do a lot of work. I do some welding and everything, so I have a pretty good job, and I've been able to work myself all the way up to be able to get an opportunity to work in a job like that. I've taken a college vocation class. I've done OJT training. I've got several certificates. I got an OSHA license. I'm working on getting my apprentice license in plumbing. So there's several things that I've been doing prior to seeing team parole, which I saw just in October, and I got a 1-year set off. So that was kind of difficult to hear, after everything I've been through, for them to tell me that they didn't feel I was prepared to go to the world, which, on a personal level, I wish they would just know who I am as a person, and they would see that I'm actually ready to go home. I've done a whole lot.
So when they give y'all these set-offs, do they tell y'all why they're setting y'all off, what y'all can do to be prepared for y'all next what comes next? And do they have a plan of action? Like, do they have an individualized plan of action to help you get out on parole?
Well, that's the thing about the parole system here in Texas. When they give you a denial, they tell you why. Like for me, for instance, they denied me for 3 reasons. The first reason was that I had a past criminal history, which was the 2 crimes that I committed when I was an 18-year-old kid. And then the second one was the nature of the crime, which is basically what the crime consisted of, which is something that it can never change. And that's something that they use a lot against a lot of people, the nature of the crime. But it's something that you can't ever change that, right? But they still use it against us. And then the third one, for me, was that they denied me for. The third one was for being unable to complete probation on parole. So basically, I violated my parole on the burglary charge that I had when I was 18, and they used that against me. And,
okay, but you was 18, so we're gonna throw the 18-year-old out the we're gonna throw all the 18-year-old stuff out the window. So if we throw all the 18-year-old stuff out the window, because now there's scientific evidence that says that you was nowhere near capable of rationalizing what you was doing, what you thought you was doing, or what you did on no occasion. So whatever happened when you was 18, it don't matter. If you were in another state, you would be out of prison, because in the state of New York, there's someone that come on the podcast and talked about how he had been in prison. He went to prison as a juvenile, and how he had been in prison. And whenever they passed that law in New York about them not being capable and them not having the capacity to understand what they was doing at 15, 16, 17, 18 year, those 19, they say before 21 or 25, I can't remember which one it is, so don't quote me on it, but they was backing up people's sentences. People were getting out of prison and understanding that they do this in so many other states. In so many other states, they have so many laws in place and so many things in place that Texas just don't put in place. Like, it's so much that Texas could do that would relieve a lot of the stress on the prison system. It will relieve a lot of stress. It will let some of these people that's been incarcerated, and I say this and I keep saying it and I won't let it go. You got people, everybody that I've talked to, you look at the pattern here. You got people that's been incarcerated over 20 years, over 30 years. You even got people that's been incarcerated over 40 years. These people are more than likely not going to offend again, because guess what? These people have spent the majority of their lives in prison. These people just want to go home. These people just want to live what little life they have left, because guess what? A lot of these people in their 50s, they're in their 60s, they're in their 70s, or if they're not in their 50s, they're in their late 40s. They're pushing it. They're not trying to go back to prison because they don't want to live the rest of their lives in prison. And these people don't get that. They don't get it because they don't believe that people rehab. But if we are a state if we are a country that's built on in God we trust, then why don't we trust God? He gave, how many of us he gave another chance? Every day we wake up, we get another chance. These people get another chance to fight for power and greed. They get another chance to do all this crap that they do every single day. But they won't give other people a chance because they don't believe in their eyes. These are their eyes. These are their perspective. These are their thoughts. Because when you ask them, it's, I don't believe. I don't believe. But what does the law say? Well, what does statistics say? What does, who makes up the parole board? That's what I keep saying. They need to take a look at who makes up the parole board, who's making these decisions. Because you need somebody that's looking at this person's mental state. You need somebody that's looking at this person's physical state. Is this person able to go out and make a living? Is this person able to go out and function in society? Is this person able to go out and get along with somebody? Or is this person traumatized from being in prison all this time and going through all the stuff that they've been through at TDCJ? If you was not traumatized when you went in, you will be traumatized when you go out. So is they capable of going back and being in society? But instead, all they look at is the legal aspect. All they want is prior correction officer, prior prosecutors, prior police officers, people that have helped put y'all there to be on the board to release y'all. And of course, you know they're going to keep denying y'all. They're going to deny y'all time after time after time after time, because guess what? They keeping that bed filled. They keeping that space filled. They keep money coming in, because guess what? The state of Alabama got a lawsuit right now against them for over $40 million, where they've ripped off the prisoners for years, where they've charged them, where they've took them outside and worked real jobs, McDonald's, Burger King, different places. They've worked real jobs beside real people. And they've made dimes, they've made pennies, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing in Texas. But a lot of stuff that they're doing, they need to stop. They need to stop. But I want you to share with the people today, what would you like for if someone is listening, well, what is the message for them on today? What is the message for them on today concerning your situation or concerning what's going on within TDCJ? How can they assist on today?
For me, it's just understanding that the majority of the men in here are men, you know, and it's we understand that the crimes that we committed. There's actually a lot of good men in here who made a lot of mistakes in their lives, and unfortunately, you know, there's a misconception about us being monsters or people who just have no conscience whatsoever. But, you know, in all the years that I've been here, I've met a lot of really good men who just made a lot of bad mistakes, you know. If anything else, just remember that we're human. You know, we make mistakes, you know. And if you're a Christian, and I am, just remember that God forgives us for everything that we've ever done. It doesn't matter what the sin is. God has made it very clear that He's willing to forgive you for anything that you do. Now, if you want to help, then speak up. If you have family in here and you've never really been involved in prison reform, maybe it's time for you to get involved. There's a lot of things in here that we could have if we just had a little bit of help. There's a lot of things for us that kind of trend. There's a lot of things that are going backward. Like right now, where I'm at right now, there's not a lot of things for inmates to do. We're short of staff, and so we don't get any recreation rarely. The educational department's there's slim pickings. There's very few things that you can choose to do. Vocational classes as well. So, if anything, try to get Huntsville and representatives in Austin to understand that, hey, guys, if you want us to allow them back in society, then do more for them to be better themselves, And that's why I've always kind of been, I guess, a little upset with TDC is that if you're not in the Huntsville area, if you're outside of the Huntsville area, you really don't get a lot of things that they tend to put out there for the public. Like here, we don't get a lot of ministries that come through. There's not a lot of vocational classes. And so a lot of the times the guys just kind of sit here, and then obviously if you're sitting here not with nothing to do, you start doing bad things, you start getting into trouble and stuff, So if you want to help us in that matter. Help us try to become better educated, help us become better skilled at jobs, help us become better Christians or Muslims or whatever it is. There's a lot of things we can do to try to help us, instead of criticizing us for our past, help us with our future, and reach out, talk to your representatives or become a part of a prison ministry or anything that might help us, even re-entry groups, out in the world, helped a lot because there's a lot of people that don't have a lot. And some guys have no family whatsoever. So when they get up, they can use a helping hand. If they can see that there's somebody out there that actually cares and is willing to help them get on their feet, believe me, most of these guys in here will do right. They'll get out and do what they need to do. They just need a helping hand, and somebody that cares, because it's hard for people to really understand what kind of people we really are, because a lot of the times they judge us on our past, and unfortunately that's the stigma that not only TDCJ has to deal with concerning us, but with the politicians, how they view us and talk about us. We're not all monsters. We've done some horrific things in our lives, but that doesn't change the fact that we're still human and we deserve a second chance.
Right.
So, and people like me, I wasn't a violent person, but I committed a violent crime, but I'm not a bad person. I regret what happened. I wish I could change it if I had the opportunity, but I can't. The only thing I've been able to do is change who I am as a person and try to educate myself and just try to be positive about my future, and I don't do it just for myself. I do it for my family. My family always has this dream about who I am and what I can be. And so now that's what I'm trying to do, try to be that person that they've always wanted me to be, and I know I can. I know I can do that. When I step out the extensions, I plan on coming back, talking and helping you guys see that it's possible to succeed on the outside, because I really believe I will. I will succeed.
Amen. Well, I want to thank you for stopping by and sharing on today. People definitely need to hear what's going on inside and how people end up here, and how situations can drastically change. So thank you. And I know it. Yeah, I know it's not. I know it's not easy, but thank you for sharing. Oh my God, thank you for sharing. And again, if there's anyone out there that is willing to help with his situation, please feel free to reach out. Reach out.
I mean, if you have it in your heart to to help people, do it. Don't hesitate. I think a lot of times people, when it comes to prison industry or just anything to do with prison, I understand the fear that some people might have because of the stuff that people have done. But once you come in here, you actually start dealing with us on a face-to-face basis, you'll realize that we're all just regular guys, we're just regular human beings, and we just need a second chance, and we need people to see us for more than what we were, and the crimes that we committed. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of good men in here, and reaching out and trying to help us get on our feet and be part of society. Hey, man, we also need a helping hand, and so if you have it in your heart to help, I hope that you, whoever you may be listening to this, there's a lot of good things. They just need to reach out and make them feel, human. That's all. So thank you for having me on, too. It's been great talking to you, and to all you people out there, God bless all of you, and I hope y'all have a good day and a great future.
Thank you for stopping by. Again, I want to thank everyone that has tuned in on today. Like every Monday, we take this opportunity to allow those that are behind the walls at TDCJ an opportunity to come on and share their perspective, to share a little bit about how they landed in TDCJ, what this journey has been like, and a little of what they would like to see. We take this opportunity to expose corruption that has been going on within the judicial system in Texas for over 3 to 4 decades. We also expose things that are going on within TDCJ, the bad living conditions, the horrible food, and just various things that's brought to my attention by the inmates. And that's what we'll continue to do here with the Free Texas campaign. I am the queen of collaborations, affectionately known across these social media streets. My name is Angela Thomas Smith. Again, I thank you guys for tuning in. We have one more interview later on around about 5 minutes from now. So we will come back live in about 5 minutes. So if y'all want to jump back on, and make sure you share this out, because you never know what the next person may need, or whether the next person may be able to help and assist. So please share this in your circle of influence. Again, I thank you for tuning in. The Queen love you guys. And guess what? Ain't nothing you can do about it. Y'all have a blessed one.